Hey guys, welcome back to Popo's Woodwork. So I'm back in the shop again. It's been a good minute since I've been out here, but today's project is going to be because of the virus pandemic, and all of our kids from our area is doing what's called remote learning. So they're not going to school. They're all going to do this, I guess, school by computer, and parents. So all the parents is going to be doing most of the teaching. I don't know how this is going to go. Haven't ever done it, so yeah, it's going to be new. So basically, I have a 6-year-old and an 11-year-old. Well, she's fixing to turn 11, and they fight. Two girls fight all the time. So I'm going to build a classroom desk. I got one that's trying to be in the camera now. Yeah, don't mind her hair. Anyway, so I'm going to build a desk that has two sides to where one can sit on this side, one can sit on this side. I'm putting a partition in the middle, and I'll order some cork board panels that haven't came in yet. So I'm gonna put cork board on both sides where they can use thumbtacks, stick their paperwork up on that. But the biggest part of that is I want it high enough to where they can't see each other and they can't fight with each other while they're doing the schoolwork. That way I can kind of set it up where I can keep an eye on them, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do, but they can't see each other to make faces and just, you know, start doing what kids do. So anyhow, I don't have any plans for this. It's just something that I thought of, and we're gonna give it a shot and see how it turns out. Now mind you, I bought two of these, and the reason I bought two is that way we have two houses that they're gonna be going to, mine and another house, and that way they'll have the same desk there. So I'm gonna show you the lumber that I bought. I don't know if I bought enough, I never do, but what I did buy should build two of them. So keep that in mind if you decide to do this. It's enough lumber to build two, I think. We hope, because I don't have to go back to Lowe's. Anyhow, I'll turn you around and show you the lumber, and then we'll get started on this. All right, so here's the lumber that I bought. As you can see, I got 7. I didn't know if that was enough, but, and just so y'all know, because of this pandemic also, 2x4x8s now at my local Lowe's is dang near lacking maybe 20 cents from being $5. $5. I can remember when you could buy them things for 99 cents. So yeah, the world's awesome. So anyhow, 7 2x4 by 8 foots. These are what I call, which y'all seen these a bunch in my videos, these are project panels. This is the cheaper end. This is the one that was in the plastic. And the reason I wished I could have got that, but I needed this width. Let me turn around this way. So these are 3/4 inches thick, 16 inches wide, and 6 feet long, because I'm gonna make the desk 3 feet. So basically, this one board right here is gonna be both sides of the desk. It'll make sense, I promise. And then this piece is 20 inches, I think. Yeah, 3/4 inch by 20 inch by 72. So this one's 6 foot as well. But this is going to be the partition that's going to sit in the middle to divide them so they can't see each other. So, like I said, I got 2 of these because that's going to do 2 desks. And I bought that big one because I'm going to have to make it 3 feet long. So when I cut that in half, that should do both desks. And then, of course, the 2x4s, I hope, this is what I don't know if I have enough or not. So that's going to be the legs and the frame of the desk. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and cut these down to 3 feet. So I'm going to pretty much rip them right in half. All 3 of these, get that going, then I'll try to figure out what I need to do next. Alright, so now I got all my pieces cut down to 3 foot. And what I did is I measured it prior to cutting, and it was literally, because you know this is glued together board, so it was legitimately 6 foot on the dot. So when I drew the 3 foot mark, my pencil mark, if the pencil mark's like this, I literally centered the blade, like say that notch, the pencil mark, I centered the blade right on top of that pencil mark. That way I'm not left or right, that way they'll all be even. So that's how I cut it. So now that I got them cut, I'm gonna kind of mock it up. And I think that I'm going to make the legs about 30 inches, maybe. I want the whole thing to not be taller than 30 inches tall, so I'm going to take and measure the true side thickness of this, see if it's actually 3/4 of an inch. deduct that from that to where I want the whole table roughly 30 inches tall. So let me kick this around for a minute and then I'll be right back with y'all. All right, I'm gonna cut the legs down to 30 inches, and because my daughter has an old desk and it's like 30 and some change, so the wood is actually 5/8 of an inch thick, so that way it'll be 30 and 5/8. But if you see this piece here, all I did was I measured from there to the saw blade, so I know it's 30 inches. That way I've got a stop block, and I know every leg is going to be the exact length, and I don't have to worry about it wobbling once I get it together. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. I'm going to get three legs out of each 2x4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut enough to get 8 table legs, and then we'll cut the braces after that. I'm going to run all my table legs through the planer. You don't have to do this. I'm just going to do it to try to save some time and not having to sand. I'm not doing it for any other reason other than to just dress the wood up a little bit so I don't have to spend so much time sanding. This right here, find my finger, it's going to be the side of the table, and you can see this gap here. I took one of them boards, hard to do this stuff by yourself. I took one of these boards and set it in the middle, then laid one leg this way, one leg here, so I could figure out how much gap I'm going to have in the middle. So the board that's going to be the side brace is 25 and 5/8 inches long. So that's what I cut it down to. So I'm going to have to cut 4 of those total, one for this side, that side, and then 2 more for the other table. Hang on, my dog's get down on the motorcycle. All right, so anyway, I'm gonna cut 4 like this, and then like I said, the legs, let me pan it down. The legs are 30 inches long. So it kind of don't look like much now, but it'll be coming together here in a second. And I'm gonna leave the 2x4s, in other words, they're gonna be sitting here. So one will be facing this way, the other one's gonna be facing this way. So I want the table leg to be the narrowest part facing them, so they got more leg room instead of flipping it to where it's wide like this. So anyhow, hopefully it'll make sense here in a minute. Just bear with me. All right, so now I've got the legs. As you can see, I got them on the side where they're going to be sitting, and I stood them up. Now I'm going to measure from here to here to find out exactly what I'm gonna need in the center. All right, the front braces from here to here is going to be 33 1/4. And the reason I do things different, let her go by. Anyway, I do things a little different because I just run these through the planer just to dress them up, and I didn't remeasure them. So this is just easier. That way I know how thick it is. So from here to here is 33 1/4. So I'm gonna cut 4 of those and then run all of them through the planer. All right, so I went to do this. Of course, I'm gonna do pocket screws in these, and I went to do the screws, realized I didn't have any more. So I go to Lowe's and get the Lowe's, and I guess because everybody's been, like everything else, everybody's sold out of everything that has to do with construction. The only screws they had were these, which is actually not the right ones to use for Craig jig, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna use these, and I'm gonna glue it, and hopefully that'll hold it and keep it together. So here's the leg, this is the side. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, anyway, so all I'm gonna do, like I said, I gotta use the wrong screws. So I'm gonna screw these in and use this pocket hole that I did with the Craig jig. And I'm gonna glue these and then screw them on in. two bases look like after they're together. So I'm gonna let them sit for a little bit, let that glue start drying. And for anyone that wants to know, I'm using the Titebond 2 premium glue. It dries a little faster than the Titebond 3. So that's that so far. Now all I gotta do is, once this dries a little bit, I'm going to flip them back over and lay my tabletops, which is right there, I'm gonna lay them on there and use my brad gun and air compressor. I'm gonna glue around the edges, lay the boards down, and just shoot them with brads and make my life a whole lot simpler. Oh, and while I was doing this, the mailman ran, and here's my I bought 2 packs of my cork board. They're supposedly peel and stick, but if they don't stick, then it's going to be screw and glue. We're going to get them on there one way or the other. So there's, oh, and they're 12 inches by 12 inches if you want to know. And I can put a link in the description on these where I got them on Amazon also. So I got to thinking, and I cut 8 of these out of the scrap that I had left over. So basically all I did was took the 2x4, cut a 45, flipped it, cut a 45, and just made a bunch of little triangles. And the reason I did that is, which I just got this mocked up, is I figured that I was going to need something that will help hold the weight of this teetering right here. So basically what I'll do is I'll glue it where it's making contact with the bottom and the top, and just tack it with some brads to hold it until the glue dries. So that, excuse me, so that right there is what it looks like. And then the center board, this board right here, if you look at this one, I left it where it's a gap, so it's actually going to sit down in there just like that. So basically this is what we're going after, something simple, and there's plenty of wide to be able to get a computer, a notebook, and whatever other type of book they need. And that way they can both sit here. And then that cork board, those panels was bigger than I had anticipated. So basically all I'm going to be able to do is run, they're 12 inches, 12 by 12. So I can get 2, and then I'm going to probably have to cut 1 in half to make it fit. So I'm just going to run those across the top and leave the bottom blank. But it'll still be enough there where they can stick paper. But now, like the way she's sitting, if she's here and the other one is over here, they're not going to be able to see each other to mess with each other, and they have to actually pay attention. See, it's perfect height for her, especially sitting on that stool. But that way they can't fight with each other. So now that my mock-up is good, I'm going to go ahead and take all that down, take this off, run the beads of glue around, and just glue it and shoot it and get it over with. Okay, so here's these little cork, whatchamacallit, pads. So they come with these little self-adhesive strips, so I just stuck 4 on there. So basically what I'm gonna do, which I ain't gonna bore you with it, but I'm gonna pull all these little tabs off, and then I'm gonna run a row because I ain't gonna have enough room to double them up, so I'm gonna run a single row across the top. Alright guys, so here they are finished. Short, sweet project. I mean, it's pretty simple. You can do it with basic tools. So anyhow, in a nutshell, I could stain them or either paint them, but I don't think I'm going to, because this is going to be a one and done. Hopefully, like after this year, they shouldn't have to use them again, and we're going to probably just throw them in the dumpster, to be honest. So I'm not going to fool with staining them. Plus my kids get on here and they're going to color, draw, and do God only knows what to them. So I'm not even going to put in all that effort. But this is just basically, like I said before, to get us through this school year. So that's that. And with the putting these little 45s on here, it really makes that right there stable. So you ain't gotta worry about that falling over or none of that. But if you got any questions, shoot me a comment. I'll try my best to answer them. All the cuts, size cuts and all that stuff, I did say it. If you get to this point and you may have skipped it through the video, anytime I get ready to cut something, I tell you what size I cut it. So that way you'll know that if you decide to do this yourself. But like I said, if you got any questions, shoot me a comment. I'll do my best to answer them. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next project. And thank y'all for watching, by the way.